Hello and welcome to Multifamily Investments with Bob Biggins, episode number 41. Large versus small multifamily property purchase consideration, I guess I should say. First, we'll start out by defining small. Small multis are usually considered, they call them plexes. It'll be a duplex, a triplex, a fourplex, also known as a quad. The big difference with them is they're valued in different ways. They are valued using the comp method, COMP, or the comparative analysis method. Appraisals will look at those and they're going to compare those to your neighbors or down the street or in the same zip code or in the same region or county or however. There's not generally a whole lot of comps for multis, a specific duplex or a specific triplex. The appraiser may value it against two duplexes, a triplex, and a quad. They're not the same, but they're similar enough where they use them for comps or comparative. It's the same as what is done for single family homes. They use the comp method as well. And like single family homes, the other big difference is it's financed over your 15 or your 20 or your 30 year period amortization. It's financed almost the same as a single family house. And with that, you can get 30-year debt. So you think about buying a property today and your mortgage payment may be $1,000 or $1,500. Just think how cheap that $1,000 or $1,500 is going to be 30 years from now in the year 2056. Do you think rents will be the same? No, but your mortgage payment will be the same. That's the big benefit of having a 30-year mortgage when you're buying small multifamilies. Large multifamilies, by contrast, are going to be from 5 all the way on up. And some people will call them midterm or even the gray area properties. And they could be from 5 to 20 units or say 8 to 20 units. That's where some of the people consider the midterm properties. But technically, they are large multis. Anything 5 and over is considered a large multi. And there's two differences with those as well. They're valued based on the NOI and the cap rate method. The NOI is the net operating income, which, as we know from video 2, 3, and 4, is just simply your revenue minus your expenses, not including your debt service or not including your mortgage with principal and interest. And then you value it on the cap rate, which is going to be simply your net operating income, NOI, net operating income, divided by your purchase price. So that's going to be a 6.5 cap or a 7 cap or a 7.5 cap or an 8 or 9 or 10 cap, depending. And then it also, the financing that is done is generally going to be a 20-year amortization, meaning the amortization table is going to be based on 240 payments. Sometimes in some banks will be favorable, give you 25-year amortization, but that's fairly uncommon. And you can get 30-year financing, but then you're getting into agency debt. This is all non-agency debt or non-recourse debt that I'm talking about, recourse debt. Non-recourse debt is like agency debt or Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, high-level commercial or large multi-debt. But regardless, banks will use and commercial generally will use, Fannie Mae will use a 5-year term, sometimes up to a 10-year term, and they're amortized over 20 years or 25 years. Generally, most banks, unless you can really get some favorable terms, it's going to be financed over 240 months. And it's going to be a balloon payment at 5 years. So you know how loans are, you pay the majority of your interest up front. Well, commercial loans, they want you to pay your interest for 5 years. They'll reset it and you have a new mortgage, and that new mortgage will then be either the amount that is due, or if you've done improvements, you want to do a cash out refi, you can take cash out of that, have a higher mortgage if the debt service coverage will support it. So other considerations when you're purchasing a multi, large or small. Is it going to be professionally managed? Are you going to manage it yourself? Are you going to have a team under you that is going to manage it, or are you going to have it professionally managed outside from an outside contractor? Generally, multis are considered 8 units. You budget about 8% for larger units and 10% for smaller units. Could be up to 12 for the plexes. Or if you get up into the 100 or hundreds, it could be as low as 3 or 4% management fee. So you need to think about that when you're buying, what size you're going to buy, and what class, and whether you're going to take on the burden, the job of managing. You can save money, but if you do a lot of things wrong, it could cost you money as well. But again, I always say, no one's going to take as good a care of your property as you take care of your property. Are you going to self-occupy? See, there is a government program, just came out within the last year or so, where you can put 3.5% down. So think about that. You buy a property and you put only 3.5% down. So for every $100,000, you're only putting $1,000 down. So for a $300,000 asset, you're putting in a little over $10,000. And you will have to pay PMI, which is primary mortgage insurance, but the benefit is you're getting all of the control of a larger asset with very little down payment money. Now, if you were to live in that, say you bought a quad and you lived in it, you would only get 3 sets of rents, and you would have a high mortgage because you didn't put a lot down. But you have to pay to live anyway. So you're going to pay $1,000 or $1,500 or $1,200 or whatever you're going to pay in rent to live. You will just maybe break even, and so you're living for free. So with a very low down payment, you're living for free, and although you've got a high mortgage and you don't have a lot of equity, you're gaining equity, and as time goes on, appreciation takes place year after year, and your principal is going to go down, albeit slower, but it is going to go down. Another consideration is down payments. Generally, down payments are going to be higher with larger units. Oftentimes, debt service coverage ratio of 65 to 75% for larger properties, meaning you're going to have to bring 30 to 35% to the table. And the plexes, you're going to be usually 20% down, sometimes 25% down if it's a bigger deal. So your LTV is going to be 75 to 80% in a smaller deal. And now, in a larger deal, the lender's going to think about your sponsor strength, or how much experience you have in managing, if you're going to self-manage, or being an asset manager, meaning manage the property management firm. And if you don't have a lot of experience in being a sponsor or a GP, a general partner, you may want to consider partnering with someone to improve your sponsor's strength. Partner with someone with 20 or 50 doors or 10 or 20 years experience. You can say, we have this much experience and we have these many doors. My team has this many doors. Utilize other partners' strengths to offset any weaknesses you may have. It's just another strategy. Another consideration is debt service coverage ratio. For large multis and small multis both, you're going to be about 1.2 to 1.3 DSCR, meaning debt service coverage ratio, which means if you've got a $200,000 asset and it's a $1,000 mortgage and your net operating income is $1,000, you're at a 1.0 DSCR. If you're at $1,250, then in net operating income, you're going to be at 1.25 DSCR. So it's going to be your net operating income over your mortgage amount, so your principal and interest. So remember, the more units, the more fixed costs are spread out over those units. For example, if you have, say, 100 units and you have fixed costs of $10,000 a month, and that is to mow the grounds, that may be water, that may be sewer, or that may be your property taxes, your insurance. If you have 300 units and you have the same $10,000 a month, then your cost per unit is going to go way down. You're going to have more insurance, but not proportionally that much more. And you're going to have more property taxes, but maybe not that much more. They're going to mow the grounds, they're going to do snow plowing. And so the more doors you have, the more those fixed costs you have to pay anyway. Whether it's a duplex or a 100 unit, you generally want to have things plowed or mowed, and it just spreads those costs out. Less cost per door when you have more doors. Now, there's other things you want to consider, and I would recommend finding an experienced practitioner who does this on a daily basis. I do, and my wife, bigginsteam.com. I've been doing it 30 years, and she's been doing property management, maintenance, and the like for about 28 years. So we've got almost 60 years experience, and we are definitely practitioners. We practice every day. And so we will help you buy a property and price the property and underwrite a property. So that's one of the main things, is to have good, solid underwriting. And we can definitely help with that. Pricing, what is a good offer? What is a solid offer? What's a non-embarrassing offer? Other considerations or things to discuss with a practitioner is, how much do things cost? If you have to replace 10 windows, for example, we could quickly walk through the property with you and say, okay, 10 out of 40 windows or 10 out of 50 windows, it's going to be, if you buy a window about that size at a big box store, it's going to be $300, $400. A big picture window, maybe $500 or $600. So installation's $500. Quickly, you'll be at $1,000 a window. 10 windows, 10,000 probably. Let's ask for 15 off and settle for 12. And just that fast, we could probably be within 10, 20% of what the actual cost is. And you can go get quotes based on that type of analysis, but I think we're pretty close in helping you pull together costs on many, many different projects. And we have a professional Rolodex that is unbelievable, with every trade you could ever think of, that are quite solid and take our call every single time, because we do so much work with them, and we refer so much work to them as well. Good working relationships. We're very good would teach you and help you use creative financing. Let's say that we know that the seller has a lot of equity and you may not have a lot of cash, but you want to take down the deal. I'm sure that we can somehow work a creative structure out with a private money mortgage, a land contract, a seller take back, a seller carry, many different options that we can work on to work with a seller direct, where there's maybe not even a bank involved. And those are different strategies that we use ourselves as well as with our clients. And then really to make you think about an exit strategy. What's your exit strategy before you even put in an offer? Are you looking to keep these forever? Are you looking to do a cash out refinance in 5 years? Are you going to sell in 5 years? Is it going to be like a big glorified flip? And if you're really new, you may not know, but it's just something to think about, and we can walk through the different options there are. You may not even know there's a cash out refi option. You may not know that you can do a seller take back and then maybe pay them off early once your improvements are in place, and do a cash out refi. I mean, all these different options, creative options and exit strategy options, are things that we bring to the table, and our sellers have been, or our buyers rather, have been very, very appreciative of things that we've worked with them on. So the next video we'll discuss when and how to list your multifamily property. This one here was buying a multifamily property. Next video will be listing or selling a multifamily property, of which we have a lot of experience in both. And be sure, if you have any questions, put comments in below or reach out to bigginsteam.com. I appreciate your time. I realize it's very valuable that you took your time to watch this video. I hope it was helpful to you. And until the next time, until the next video, this is Multifamily Investing with Bob Biggins, episode number 41, signing out.